Hey everybody, my name is Philip. Earlier this year, I decided to start reading the Bible from front to end, all the way through, and I wanted to kind of capture on video a little bit of a journal on what I'm reading, what I'm learning, and I wanted to be able to share that with you all. Really, I just want to learn more about the character of God and what lessons He has for me today that I can live out in my life. So I hope that these videos are beneficial to you in some way, and I hope you enjoy them. What's up, everybody? I'm back. 1 Kings 17 is where I'm going to spend some time in today. 1 Kings 17 is a really cool chapter of the Bible that speaks to God's provision. God provides. I'm excited. So, quick recap of chapter 17 in 1 Kings is we're introduced to the prophet Elijah. He's going to talk to King Ahab, which King Ahab, by the way, is not a good king. He's an evil king. He practices idolatry. In a lot of ways, the nation of Israel has just turned its back on God under his leadership. So Elijah shows up to King Ahab. He says, "Yo, Ahab, there's about to be a mad famine in this land, and it's not going to rain until I give the word." Then he drops the mic and he takes off. He walks out. God says, "Hey, you're going to want to go into hiding. I want you to go into hiding east near the Kerith Brook, east of the Jordan River." He tells him that ravens are going to bring him food and that he's going to be able to drink from the brook to get water. So we'll get back to the whole ravens thing because that's kind of crazy. So after that, the brook dries up after a little bit of time passes. So Elijah's again saying, "God, what do you got for me? What are we doing?" So God says, "Go to the village of Zarephath. There's going to be a widow there. She's going to provide you food, and I'm going to provide to you through her." So Elijah says, "Cool." He goes to this village, he finds the widow, and he's like, "What's up, widow? I'm here. God told me to come. You got anything for me to eat or drink?" And the widow says, "You have come at a crazy time. Believe it or not, I only have enough flour and oil in my house today to make one last waffle." Now, it was bread. It wasn't a waffle. It was bread. But I think waffle sounds cooler. It was probably like a funfetti waffle, so we're going to go with that. But that's not in the Bible, just to be clear. It was bread. Okay? All right, so she's like, "I only got enough flour and oil for one last funfetti waffle." Elijah's like, "Whoa, are you kidding me?" And she's like, "No, I was going to make this one last waffle for me and my son. We were going to eat it, and then we were going to starve to death because that's all we got left." And Elijah says, "Whoa, calm down there with all that death talk. Here's what you want to do. You want to make me a funfetti waffle first. Then you'll want to make yourself a funfetti waffle, and this is what the Lord promises. He promises that He's going to provide for you and that you'll always have enough to eat." So the lady, she's like, "Yeah, that sounds great." She trusts His word. She trusts the word of Elijah. And she makes him a funfetti waffle. Then she makes her and her son a funfetti waffle. And wouldn't you know it, her containers are constantly full of flour and oil, with enough flour and oil to continue to eat. God is providing for her in real time, which is sweet. Then, towards the end of the chapter, this lady's son gets sick. He starts to die. So she comes to Elijah, the widow does, and she says, "Elijah, I just kind of wanted to know what's up here. I made you my funfetti waffles. I invited you into my house, and you're just not going to just let my son die, are you?" And he's like, "Calm down again with all that death talk. I know a guy." So he takes this sick child. He goes upstairs. He prays for this kid. He's like, "God, restore the life of this child." What does God do? He does it. He heals this kid, brings him back, and won't He do it? That's all I can say. So, what can we glean from this passage? Well, what I sort of gleaned from this passage was that, number one, if we step out into obedience, God will be faithful to provide for us. So God provides here for Elijah a couple different ways. He provides to Elijah through the ravens. He brings food to Elijah from ravens, which is just crazy. I don't know. I would have to be very, very hungry to take food away from a raven and consider it a blessing from God. If I saw a raven on the street, I would say, look at that raven over there with the turkey and cheese sandwich from Jersey Mike's tucked up in his beak. What a blessing. No, what I probably would do is say, gross, nobody touch that bird. He probably has the bird flu. That's disgusting. But that's neither here nor there. God provided to Elijah through these ravens, which is just cool. I think it took a little bit of faith on Elijah's part, number one, to just accept that food. But in his defense, God did tell him ahead of time, I'm sending you some ravens to provide some food to you, so be ready for that, because that's going to happen. The next thing that he does is he provides through this widow. But what I found interesting with this widow was that it required her to be obedient and faithful in her actions in order for Elijah to have the provision that God had already promised him. So this widow could have very easily been like, dude, this is my last waffle. I wanted to just enjoy one last waffle with my son, and then we were going to die. I don't want to give you my last waffle. I'm hungry. It would have been very easy for her to say that. But she didn't. She stepped out in obedience, and she said, I trust the voice of Elijah. Ultimately, I trust the voice of God, and I'm going to do exactly what he tells me to do, and I'm going to trust that his promises will happen. And lo and behold, he provided for this widow and her son while he was providing for Elijah. So now you got two people being provided for, and both were simply because they were stepping out in faith, which is awesome. And then lastly, in this passage, I'm reminded that God has power over death. God has shown us before this that he has power over death. He'll show us again later in his book that he's got power over death. He's just reminding us that, hey, death ain't got nothing on me. So, I'm speculating, of course, but if this widow had never taken that initial step of faith and trusted Elijah and made him that initial waffle, like, does she and her son eat that last waffle, and do they just perish? Do they just die? Her son may not even get to the point where he's really sick, because maybe he died of starvation prior to that. I don't know. The Bible doesn't tell us what would have happened if she didn't obey, but it is interesting to kind of think of it that way. So here's the question that I have for you and for me. What areas of our life do we need to trust God more in? Is it our time? Do we need to say, God, I don't have a lot of time, but what I do have, I'll give it to you, and you use it how you will? Is it our money? God, I know I don't have a lot of money, but what I do have, God, I trust you. I'm going to give it to you, and I'm going to hope that you will provide, and I'm going to trust that you will provide. God, I don't have a lot of energy, but what I do have, I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to serve others. I'm going to serve you. And what area in your life do you need to say, God, I don't have a lot, but what I do have, I give it to you, and I trust in your provision? It's a hard question to assess, but my prayer is this. My prayer is that we trust that God will provide. We trust that the same God of 1 Kings 17 is the same God that we serve today. He's still moving. He's still faithful. And he's still providing. Won't he do it?